going to favor Alphari.
Well, you'd have to imagine, but I think that Alphari has been given a champion that he can have a lot of agency on. I think back to his past in Europe, his carry potential. He's been a player that has been widely recognized. I know that this narrative around him has been built up about, you know, he gets leads in lane, that he doesn't impact the map. I really don't think that's been true in this game. I feel like that you've really felt his impact, and honestly, it's felt like very big team differences whenever it's one side over the other. Small positional mistakes that the other have been able to quickly capitalize on. Mickey finding clutch hooks, Selfmade finding great engages. We've had a fantastic series ultimately culminating in this final game, and now it's going to largely come down to the big fights.
Yeah, and what we saw was Vitality almost ending things in the same way they started. The level 1, walking forward the Nautilus, going with the Olaf. Didn't find anyone on the bot side, but getting brush control against this kind of lane can give you some ability to fight at level 1. One of the few times you really can start arm wrestling this 2v2 away from the Kate Lux, which is so oppressive.
Keep your eyes on the junglers as well. Notice that Selfmade starting on the bot side of the map, going to grab his blue, path up towards top lane. Marcoon doing the opposite, meaning he's going to be pathing towards bot and playing to where Patrick and Mickey are. He wants to be able to provide that cover so that the oppression from this Caitlyn Lux lane can be in full effect.
I mean, it's so frustrating. The light binding into that Piltover Peacemaker, and look at Lebrov, already chunked so incredibly low. Patrick will be able to use some of those snap traps to help provide some level of zoning tool. And of course, the matchup that has been, I think, the swingiest throughout the course of this best of 5, Finn versus Alphari. What will we be able to do on this Mordekaiser?
And I think, putting that into context again, there has been so much conversation recently about top lane, kind of a bit of a meh role, doesn't really do much in competitive. I think in this series you can see what happens when you have two top laners with a matchup, with leads which they can really start to exploit. You can see how it affects entire best of 5s.
So I will say about Mordekaiser, in the extended trades, very, very dangerous. Camille very good at coming in, proccing that Q passive, utilizing the shield from her passive to trade out, often with health, and come out on top. But Mordekaiser, surprisingly good at sticking to you when you have no boots in the early game, especially he's able to land that drag back. And then when his passive procs, that damage over time area, very lethal and does a lot of consistent damage. So you've got to be careful in those drawn-out exchanges when trying to fight this champion.
And if Finn is able to play at a similar level to he did his Aurelia in Game 1, that is a huge influential pick that he can play. We already see some pings there from both Selfmade and Marcoon. Selfmade going top lane, Marcoon heading bottom lane. Finn level 3 flash available. Let me see whether or not any of the abilities can be baited out. The Death's Grobs coming back, flash away, hook shot chased, undertow as well, underneath the tower. The shield comes up, first blood secured, and Selfmade escapes with his life.
And it's on the gank timer. Olaf clears very quickly, went straight towards top lane and finds the angle, and just Finn not quite in the right position there.
It's just a straightforward, very clean gank from Vitality, playing towards their strong side of the map and setting Alphari up for success. They get his flash out. The wave state is also fantastic for Alphari as it's slowly pushing towards his tower. Look, he's not even going to commit the TP, which could very well set up Vitality for another repeat gank top.
And to kind of repeat how this happened again, you think, oh no, he just didn't see the timer. Oh gosh, it's a top laner not paying attention to the clock again. There were no level 1 wards down. It wasn't a track jungle start. Sometimes you have to play the guessing game and play like the jungler isn't there. This time, though, does not work out in his favor.
And now I'm terrified for Excel, because I think Nymeria used the phrase, if this becomes a scary Olaf, what a difficult situation it's going to be. Finn is not being able to crash this wave fully, and Alphari still holding on to that TP, as you mentioned, Vedius. I want to turn our attention briefly to the other jungler for a moment, because Marcoon is on that Sinzao, 5 and 3, 2.9 K plus 8, 14, and crucially 76% kill participation. I think those stats are very indicative and reflective of his performance this series as well. And now on his signature 2022 champion, will he be able to claw back this deficit and find a positive influence for his team?
Let's not forget the story of Marcoon, a very interesting one, coming in halfway through the split last year. Him alongside AdVN doing what they can to try and get XL to their first playoffs and just falling short. Then this split, they wanted to invest in him, double down and trust Marcoon, and he really has grown as a jungler. His aggressive tendencies have slowed down a little bit for a more controlled and methodical playstyle, but he's going to run into his counterpart Selfmade.
He will indeed, but Selfmade is going to have the advantage plus the level. Trading damage back and forth. 3 Talon Strike will get the knock up, and Nuktuk's going to Velk backwards. He's low on HP from a trade from Perks, and this will unlock Kazi and Labrok to step forward. Mickey gets caught by that dredge line, but luckily able to hit the blast, going flash forward from Kazi. Mickey's going to get rooted in place. Patrick steps forward, chucks out the Piltover Peacemaker. Those snap traps dissuade any further pressure.
Oh, there's so good discipline on both sides. We saw that Marcoon held on to the flash, walked away with low HP, but nothing more than that. Lebrov unlocked on the map, though. Nukedog did not get the memo.
There's the Valk. The bonk comes out. Dredge line into the Riptide. Nukedog may fall prey to another auto from Lebrov. 2 kills to Vitality.
And very aggressive on the map is what Vitality are doing. When we look back to Selfmade's last Olaf game, he was just power farming. But these wave states, every time they're just slightly overextended, he is looking for an opportunity. He knows that he's stronger in the jungle matchup. He knows where his waves have control, and he is playing flawlessly all across the map.
But I think one thing which is mysteriously missing so far is, okay, well, you've gone top side, you started to fight around the enemy jungle. What the heck's happening with this 2v2? K-Lux, they're meant to control the bot side of the map. What's happening with it? We see a CS advantage, we see some plates go down, but what more can XL get from this? Because they've had some summoners blown for them as well.
It feels like that Kazi and Lebrov are actively sacking waves in order to create a numbers advantage also on the map, and it is working out for them for the time being. They're making sure that they're actually playing for Selfmade rather than trying to shut down Patrick and Mickey, and you identified it, yes, there's a CS lead, yes, there's a plate lead, but it's not so dramatic that it's a big problem for Vitality, especially when they find themselves with the gold lead.
Well, we say not a big problem yet.
Yet.
We'll track it.
I like that, especially because Marcoon will be able to pick up this dragon. So far uncontested, this will be the second game in a row that Drake #1 goes their way, and it's 7 minutes, relatively early. I'm going to go back to that yet wording. If Caitlyn and Lux can maintain control of this bottom lane, if they're able to maybe extend the timing just a little, XL may be able to get sort of 2 Drakes out of this duo bottom lane.
Well, admittedly, XL have not put a lot of focus on early game Drakes so far in this series. That has very much been Vitality trading early ganks in favor of these early objectives. Hold that for a second as Lebrov is on a roam, but this game I think it will do dividends for XL to buy themselves more time, leverage the scaling of the Corki Caitlyn to their advantage.
And then also the other thing is, if you're stacking dragons, again, there comes a point when you're sat on a soul point, the other team doesn't want to give it to you, so they come into you if you arrive at an objective. Caitlyn is the perfect champion for that. Corki also very much flourishes in that scenario. Of course, they need to get to that soul point. That might be hard if they do give up too much early gold, and they fail to be able to fight for the second or third.
And the irony is, at the beginning of the split, one of the biggest criticisms of XL were their dragon setups. It was around the way in which they would often lose games, even with leads, when they tried to set up around these objectives. And it is the dragon setups that's going to be so important for them in these games to really leverage the full strength of their composition.
And of course, XL, they're down around 800 gold for now. Under a little bit of pressure in that middle lane. Vitality starting to move back and looking at some lane assignments there. Boots and Pickaxe picked up by Kazi. He's returning to lane. Lebrov's roaming. It's been very helpful thus far. But Marcoon will be able to start off this Herald. It doesn't look like Vitality are nearby to contest, but we do need to keep a close eye on Lebrov's roaming. Lebrov and Mickey, when they move around the map in the previous games, have been hugely influential in helping their team secure wins.
Could you bring up the minimap for me, please, Nightmare? Because I want to quickly highlight how important this Herald is, because you'll notice that Kazi pushed in that bot wave and then rotated up through the river, noticed that there was actually no contest for the Herald, and immediately pathed back towards bot lane. Mickey now also returning to lane, pathing towards bot as well, and that means that Marcoon can look for a reset and actually try and invest his Herald bot. The problem is, Selfmade is level 7, and he sees that your red buff is up, and he says, that red buff is mine.
Undertow into undertow. Shield from Mickey comes out. Marcoon blows the flash. Control ward will be taken out. Nukedog was nowhere near because he had just backed 3 members of Vitality inside the jungle. They got to be careful not to step on that snap trap. While that is going on, Kazi left uncontested in the bottom lane. That CS deficit after sacking waves has been balanced out. Shockwave will catch onto Mickey. I don't think there's enough of a follow-up just yet, but the range from Green Gunner Felios will do work. Flash away from Patrick. Summoner spell blown. Marcoon stepping forward. Remember, he used his defensively. And looks like that plate has been bounced back. Caitlyn Lux not yet activated and not yet able to control the lane.
And again, now we're looking at, okay, so what did you get from this lane? You got a couple of plates, you got a dragon. Well, the dragon's not going to matter if you don't get multiple on top of that, and the plates are starting to get equalized in their own way. You haven't controlled the bot side of the jungle. That's led to Marcoon having to blow his flash, losing some farm. The Caitlyn Lux has not done all that it's been set up to be. Question is, again, what can you start to recuperate from this? Can they still salvage it?
Well, we'll find out. Finales Funken fired out, doesn't find a target. The Rift Herald is available.
She's got the Finale Funken.
Yeah, I'm playing the old man meme, you know what I mean? There'll be some people that is...
It's really? Final Spark, but at a different
language. Hadouken!
No, Finales Funken was the name of Lux's ultimate prior.
No. Yeah. Really?
Before, Wow,
I
you are
didn't
so
know
young.
that.
I know that.
I'm not that young.
Okay,
I thought I was
super
the
quick.
youngin.
Since I've distracted the group, I do have this thought. I don't want to like build on it a huge amount, but Mickey versus Perks, super fun. Like whoever's gonna pick up this win, the bragging rights, these guys are super like friends. Mickey coming in mid-season, but more importantly as well, whoever wins gets a shot at G2 next Friday as well. There are personal levels, personal stakes here that are just gonna drive both of these players.
And there is a great narrative in here somewhere as well, where if either of these players that moves on has to be all of their former teammates.
Yes.
And we had that, you know, the anime
Yes.
revenge arc narrative. That could be on the table again.
Well, we'll find out who picks up the win. Right now, 11 minutes in, it is still a 1,300 gold lead to Vitality. No further kills secured. 50 seconds to Dragon, and I'm looking at the setups. Vedius, would you like to rate any of this setup? It feels to me like Vitality are pushing forward a challenge.
So I'm curious as to how deliberate this bot focus is from Vitality, because we talked earlier about how with the Rift Herald, XL should actually be investing their resources to try and secure that bot lane tower, unlocking the Caitlyn and Lux on the map, maybe rotating them into mid, rotating them into top, and just funneling more plates into the rest of their team. But Vitality are doing a great job of shutting that down. They're consistently attacking the bot side jungle, stealing away camps, maintaining control over the river, and actually preventing XL from creating the numbers advantage to use the Herald and unlock that map.
I was about to say, I mean, if you're going to rate the Dragon setup, you can't. There isn't a Dragon setup. They're not there for it. They have to play through their lanes, not getting anywhere close right now.
Oh, so much damage from that Moonlight Vigil. The treacherous sidestep. Patrick, that was beautiful. No flash available to him. Continuing to be under pressure. Dropped by Kazi, and Selfmade picks up the second. It looked good for a moment, but the support was there. Vitality with 4 kills. The Shockwave will clear out the wave as well, and the Rift Herald will at least pick up a plate or two.
And I mean, this is the kind of play where earlier in the series, we would have seen teleports respond. They're choosing to play through the rest of the map, though, using that Herald mid.
So we can see that Finn is winning out on the 1v1 top lane. Alfari is doing what he can to mitigate that pressure, but we thought that this would be very bot-focused. We thought that we would see XL trying to unlock Patrick and Mickey and snowball this bot lane, but ever since that Herald was taken, Vitality have shut them down. Remember this early roam bot lane, forcing those summoner spells out from Patrick? Well, they were able to get his flash hit. They tried to combo onto Kazi after landing that binding, but then he's forced to use the heal and disengage. Selfmade pops the ultimate. There's nothing that Mickey can do to peel for his AD carry, and he's left to watch as he falls shortly after.
And if we rewind to game 1, game 2, that was the kind of play where XL would have been there in time. They would have had a response ready and waiting. They just kind of have to suck it up in that one, and Vitality land a pretty hefty blow.
And I have to give so much credit to what Selfmade has been doing. He and Labrov have been controlling this bot side jungle extremely aggressively and mitigating Marcoon getting to his Raptors, getting to his red, and making his life as difficult as possible to actually enable Patrick and Mickey.
Let's talk a little bit about that Labrov and Selfmade combo, because it was two players that we were looking and talking about as we came into this series and looking to see what they can do to shut down XL.
And what a glow up it has been in this game in particular, where everything's on the line. This was a duo, and this was a team that was struggling to get things going between their jungle support, which has been a duo that we've known's been important, and has been important rather, ever since like season 4. We've seen this for so many years at this point. Vitality, when everything's just on the line, coming to the brink, pull out a very big performance.
Well, let's see whether or not Perks and the rest of the squad can push this a lead further. 3 minutes to the next Dragon. We're 14 minutes in. No towers yet secured. And that 2,500 gold is ever creeping up. Slightly slower, slightly slower. The Caitlyn Lux has not been able to dominate, and now we're starting to see those lane assignments moving.
And I'm just going to say it now so that it's said. Even though XL are a 2.5k gold deficit right now, Corki is in the game.
That means
as
scaling?
long as Corki is in the game, there is always a win condition for XL.
And I think if you remember the last game, the damage that the big ones were doing, now combine that with a final spark and an ace in the hole, those are just extremely long-range picks that are situational. You can go fishing for the skill shots. Combine that and you think about the Dragon Pit fights, Baron fights, a 1-to-1 Dragon score at 14 minutes. There is possibilities, but XL, they are inching ever closer to that point where the gold lead, they can just get hit with the wallet of Vitality.
They certainly are. Now, the Herald is going to be secured by Vitality, but Nameira, you did just point out to me that that Quicksilver Sash has actually been picked up by Alfari.
It has, because that's for the 1v1 matchup in some ways in terms of Camille being able to actually fight in team fights, because if Camille flies into the backline, gets Realm of Death, you don't exactly get to do that much. You don't get to hit your priority targets, so this allows Camille to fulfill her role in the bigger fights.
I completely forgot that there even was a top lane. We've been so focused on everything else. Now Finn and Alfari are going to be trading blows. Obliterates, and Alfari's going to back away for now. Small CS advantage to Finn. I'm very intrigued to see how and when these teams decide to pick them involved. But look, we've had a 15-minute laning phase. Whenever the stakes and the pressure get higher, the game slows down, and Patrick may just get solo killed from Kazi. Flash for flash, Chakram comes out. Kazi waited in the bushes and literally dumpstered Patrick.
Yeah, the Chakram ult. There was a buff a while ago where if you hit onto a single target, you get actually quite a lot of Chakrams just for that one person. It's really, really good dueling potential. Mythic to Mythic, Kazi finds a great opportunity.
Big play from Kazi as well. I know that there's a lot of criticism that was thrown towards him getting caught so often by Mickey, by many of those hooks, but his flash over the wall in the previous game, this game finding a solo kill onto Patrick. He's having a great performance in the latter half of this series, and it might be enough to bring Vitality to match and series win.
Caitlyn and Lux not yet activated. And when you see this performance from Kazi, plus 20 CS, 150 gold bounty. Dredge line from Labrov finds a target onto Mickey, trading Nautilus aimbot. The kill is secured by Kazi, and once again Vitality extend the lead, 6-0 up. Marcoon looking to dash forward. Alfari puts down the Hextech ultimatum and flashes away to safety. Teleport's being challenged, and now Marcoon is in trouble. That's going to be Perks, in fact, pull backwards. The Shockwave cannot finish its animation for the first time. XL get a kill this game, and they may be able to get the tower as well.
I mean, they're on the board, but what are they losing? Cross maps. Labrov goes for yet another hook. Starts off, of course, by killing Mickey. And a reminder, Mickey is undefeated on Lux all time. 4-0. Had to win this split, had to bring it out. I believe it was actually against Vitality. I feel like it was in one of the...
Stats team will confirm that for us.
I remember casting it, but Mickey gonna have to... was just caught out a little bit, and
I can't believe that Nautilus hook hit, though. I was convinced that was going to hit.
This series. He's the one who's been pulling that off.
Oh, not done yet. Look in the middle lane, or the jungle rather. That's an instant kill there onto Mickey. Marcoon's trying to turn it around. The package is used. Kazi's chunked out from those rockets, but he's so fed. He's got so much damage that Nukeduck's respecting it. Ace in the hole, not going to be enough to kill. Flash forward of the rocket! Nukeduck does it! Keep in mind, XL still 3,000 gold down, but I think the dragon is up as well.
The bot wave died, so Kazi actually lost vision on Nukeduck and had no idea how far away he was. The flash came through from Nukeduck, the predict ultimate comes in, and they're able to find 2 kills to 1, which will get them the third Drake of the game.
As long as a Corki is in this game, you cannot forget the damage. But you have to look at the summoner spells that have been committed over the last 3 minutes of play. There is a lot of targets available, a lot of potential to be made, and it is still Vitality in the lead. That mountain was secured, 2 dragons to 1, and it all started with Mickey being caught.
Yeah, where do you even start with this course? Before this, Mickey was caught. Finds himself in a bit of a difficult position for the second time in such a short amount of time, and Nukeduck does a great job of separating the fight. Of course, this is the investment of the package, but investing the flash feels a lot better about that one.
Of course, just noticed as well, Kazi didn't have any escape tools, so even if he did see Nukeduck, he wasn't getting away. Yeah. Good play there from Nukeduck and XL to respond very quickly. We talked a lot about reaction times from both teams. We've often seen a lot of collapses. More often than I would say cross maps. Normally when there's not fighting is when we'll usually see the cross maps, but the moment blood is drawn, all of the sharks swim to the location, and we end up with a bloodbath. But for the time being, in terms of the map state, it is Vitality that is in control once again. The dragon has been taken and they're contesting vision around the top side of the map. That's mainly because Vitality wants that tier 1 in the top lane, opening up the map a little bit more, but that's the last outer tower left for them to secure. They'll push in this wave and likely reset for now that the wards have been applied.
Then about to say, I mean, just to make it visually very, very easy for everyone, here are where the wards are, here are where the wards aren't. There's nothing on the enemy side of the jungle. There is no information for XL to respond to where particularly the Nautilus is going. That's the person that's really messing up their plans and catching them out. And if you don't have information about where they're resetting and where they're walking through, it's very hard to predict that and play safely.
All right, now we once again fall into this little lull. 3 minutes until the next dragon is up. We're almost at 20 minutes in game time. And as long as Nukeduck can keep farming and keep scaling, he's got his first item completed. He picked up that shutdown to Kazi. Keep an eye on Kazi, who's got the Bloodthirster completed already, by the way, which is terrifying.
Just about to say, yeah, he is so strong right now. 2 fully completed items on this Aphelios. Kazi, if there was a game to show up, this is definitely it. Backs against the wall. Vitality now finally securing that tier 1 in the top lane. It may take them a little bit longer as Nukeduck's going to show up Oh, he doesn't actually get the wave, and here comes Labrov to zone him away. This will now be the tower for Vitality.
Ooh, Mickey dancing a little bit with danger there.
Can't get that jammy twice. Surely you couldn't have got jammy.
It'll happen again.
It will.
Listen,
it almost certainly will.
Every time Nautilus is in a game, even though he's lost 6 of them this playoffs, 7 actually with the last one, those hooks are interesting at times. Labrov 1-0-3, having a very large impact in the game. Vitality have got 4 towers already and feeling very, very comfortable. But this may be that game that slows down a little, goes to those late game objective team fights. It feels like XL have been able to at least staunch the bleeding for now. And they will need to look for an opportunity. And don't forget that Finn still exists. We haven't seen him get involved too much. The game has kind of been played elsewhere on the map. But I really need to see how this Mordekaiser works.
Wonderful news. There is 1 ward on the other side of the river now from XL. They have precisely 1. So have to see if they can increase that amount, because again, I think one of the reasons this game has slowed down is XL don't have that extra degree of safety. We need to see if they can build off of that. They're really struggling even to walk into lanes. They're having to clump up and make sure they have numbers to protect themselves, exactly like what they're doing on screen.
It's very true. But I think that for XL, their main game plan now is to just delay the game. They're in a great spot Drake-wise. They can afford to give the next one up. The Baron is the scariest part, which is why we can see them investing a decent amount of vision towards the top side of the map. That bot wave is just kind of sacrificial. Mordekaiser can't afford to go there, otherwise he's at a real risk of getting killed. He will pick up the Rylai's now, securing that second item for himself, but XL just need to delay the game as long as possible.
Vedi, can you help explain to me, if they do that, if they delay, how does scaling work here? Because we have Mordekaiser, Caitlyn, Lux into an Aphelios.
Yeah, but this is where it comes back to that range conversation that we were having a while ago, right? Where the poke from XL is so lethal, the pick potential is very real. Finn gonna drop the ult onto Perks.
Well, the Realm of Death is chucked down, so is the Shockwave. Its Grass won't pull anyone backwards. Here comes Marcoon dashing all the way forward, and 5 members of Vitality are going to be forced to back away. I'm looking at Summoner Spells invested. Actually, the teleport from Nukeduck being the big one.
Again, he ults the target without the QSS. Remember that the Camille has that. Remember that the Nautilus has that too if it comes down to it in team fights. But Finn turning that into a 1v1 in at least temporary form does mean he doesn't have that ult for the next fight, however.
Remember the stopwatch also sitting in Perks' back pocket, so while he was able to keep Mordekaiser at arm's reach for the time being, he also has a lot of stalling tools. The dragon is about to spawn. I really think XL should not contest this. I think they should just play the waiting game, play for that mid-tier 1 instead. Mickey, flash hook.
This man gonna find his target. So much damage coming down. Mickey's taken out by Alfari. That was the engage, the Hextech ultimatum. There's no Realm of Death for Finn. He's gonna be forced to flash over the wall, and the Ragnarok is used defensively. Kazi chucks out the Moonlight Vigil, and that's 1 kill to Vitality.
And I can't help but feel like they had the package and they wanted to play around it. They were definitely positioning as though they were looking into things, but it's very hard to do that against the Nautilus, against the Camille. There's pick potential, catch potential, and XL, they couldn't hold their battle line straight.
Vitality is just not giving XL any room on the map. They have consistently controlled this bot side jungle throughout the game. And XL, when they try to fight for that space, to even consider a contest around the Drake, they are shut down once more. Vitality find a pick, they will get themselves into the Drake.
And I'm really quite impressed with how Vitality are approaching this game in regards to that. Again, you talk about Perks, talk about Kazi. They know how to win in a blunt kind of form of it. Kazi, reigning champion, Perks with so many titles to his name, and they're playing out this game in a very intelligent way in regards to the game state.
And I think it's important to call out again that this goal difference begins to depreciate in impact. 2 items picked up for Nukeduck on that Corki. Never forget the damage from that Ludens. And here's the light binding, final spark. Shield comes out. This time round, they didn't do anything for Labrov. But if that were at Perks or Kazi, or maybe an Alfari, pretty different setup. Hex Drink, a second item for Alfari, going to be very, very critical against this poke damage from Nukeduck. And we've got ourselves a standoff in the mid lane. Alfari level 15, TP available. He's pushing down bottom, Vidius.
Alfari doing a good job creating pressure elsewhere on the map. They're going to send Perks to go catch top. Level 15 on the Orianna. 274 CS at 24.5 minutes, continuing his Orianna I farm really well record. I think he also takes a lot of jungle camps away. I don't keep track of what it is that he's doing on the map, but I wouldn't be surprised if Selfmade lost a camp here or there every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 3 kills and 3 assists. While he's losing a camp, he's picking up some kills in the other
Isn't
side
that funny that Selfmade is 3-1-3, but it's Perks that has the bounty?
There we go. Exactly. That's how the math works. And while we have just a brief lull, just a reminder, of course, if you're not familiar with our playoff bracket, next Saturday, Fnatic will take on Rogue. The winner will be in the finals. The loser will be in our semi-final matchup the Saturday following weekend. But whoever wins here plays G2. Then whoever wins then on Friday goes on to play Misfits. And Misfits is a team we haven't spoken about yet because they'll be watching these games very closely. They'll be watching the games next Friday very closely. And we have no idea yet who's going to take this game, despite the advantage Vitality find themselves in and the fact that they are very clearly in control and leading and favored at this moment in time. You cannot discount the pick potential and the damage that can come out from XL that'll just turn things around.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at that bracket and it's just, the job is not done if you win today. Not even close to it.
Well, as the Hextech ultimatum chucked down, Finn doesn't want to use the Realm of Death. So much damage. He's going to be able to use Obliterate just a little while longer and holds on to it for potential team fights.
And he couldn't use the Realm of Death because Perk stayed out of range of it. There would have been a QSS on the other side, playing it out perfectly. Very little counterplay there for Finn.
And this will allow Vitality to maintain control of the red side jungle for XL. Kazi, White Green starting off Baron. They can absolutely do with this, especially with Olaf stepping forward. Do XL sniff it out? Nukeduck, level 15, he's making his way towards the pit.
Oh my word, this is brilliant. This is brilliant because look, while XL are now collapsing up towards the Baron, Vitality disengage, and then look at Alfari back in the bot lane. Perks is shadowing right behind him. They've put XL in this really awkward spot where they can't send someone to go and match the pressure that's being generated bot, otherwise they'll lose the Baron. And now XL have to go for a desperate fight.
They're chasing the Ragnarok, cannot be stopped. Final spot comes, Alisson holds body, block the dredge line, will pull the Brock to safety, he stays alive, so does Selfmade. Marcoon cannot find the kill with the rest of XL behind him. Somehow, XL are unable to find that kill.
Now, this is a window where XL could try and force the Baron. They can get a couple TPs out from Vitality and open up their windows of opportunity. I think this is the best play they can make right now.
Shockwave is available for Perks. TP is up as well. Vitality stepping forward. Two members. TP's into that middle lane. Perks has arrived. Alfari will too. Hextech ultimatum's up. 7,000 hit points on that Baron. So much damage from Kazi's Moonlight Vigil. Finish jump forward onto Selfmade. Use that Realm of Death. He's got himself a kill. All of that farm is not for waste. It's a 1-for-1. They get 2 TPs, but forcefully they are pushed out of the pits.
But this is the most important thing to recognize because the pinch that XL found themselves in was because of the split push pressure that Vitality was generating with Alfari and Perks. Now those TPs are gone. This buys XL just a little bit more time.
And in the short term as well, that's smite down. There is no instant counter punch even with those. Oh, well, that's a punch.
Please continue with your points.
Oh my god, Alfari just kicked Nukeduck out of the game. He just cut him in half with that.
And again, like, Alfari has played this champion so much, had so many top tier performances on the champion, and this one is another one to add to that collection.
Nearly 7,000 gold up.
Smile is the only answer.
700 gold bounty, by the way. 700 gold. Marcoon is backed up by Patrick and Mickey, and Alfari just keeps chasing Flash over the wall, instantly knocked back away. Marcoon's going to dodge some of that damage, and Alfari will escape with that hook shot. Patrick is stepping forward, trying to find targets to auto, but he simply cannot do it. Vitality are starting to suffocate the hope out of XL, are starting to turn the Cinderella story for the first playoff BO5 towards ultimate defeat. The Shockwave brings Mickey back, and Perks finds himself another solo kill. They open up on Baron, and Vitality will extend this lead even further.
And that's actually a very important pick. You had the teleport on Nukeduck on the other side of things. That could have been a teleport into a Baron contest. The pick kind of ends all thoughts of it. Of course, Dragon's still up, still available. Vitality haven't had a chance to reset to set up for that one, but XL don't have any positioning themselves to force the issue.
Vitality is just in such a commanding position. 3 items fully completed for Kazi. 2 level leads. Level 17 for Alfari. Level 17 for Perks. Range be damned. Vitality have dominated the early game. They've controlled the mid game, and now they will put themselves on sole point alongside the Baron. Vitality are looking to make the comeback happen and secure themselves this series from a 2-1 deficit.
And you know, I really want to highlight this bot lane again from Vitality. Labrov, Kazi, they felt a little bit out of sorts for a lot of this split, but this series, this game in particular, against Kate Lux, completely run it into the ground and say, you know what, bot side, this is completely ours. We've controlled this.
We are live on stage. The players are here. I'm looking at XL's faces, and it is stern and serious across the board. Vedius, I have to ask you, despite the fact Corki is in this game and 3 items completed, the deficit that Nukeduck and XL find themselves in, surely the chances of the impact for Corki are so heavily reduced right now.
I mean, there's just such a massive damage difference between the two teams right now that I do not know if XL can stall for long enough. Alphari, level 18 now, is continuously generating pressure in the side lane.
There's also quite a big sustain difference too, because I mean, Kazi chunks up gets chunked out because of poke, got a bloodthirst. You don't really care about that. Same really can't be said of XL.
Oh,
Mickey
man.
in particular.
So much damage coming out. Now the claptraps, the Caitlyn claptraps will buy some time, as it's going to be difficult to step on top of those and open up for the Rockets for the 10k gold deficit. The Baron Empowered minions rather chasing down. Marcoon's going to jump forward, looking for perks, looking for Kazi. Now Labrov comes over the wall. Dredgeline will find himself some target onto Finn. He's pulled back from the Death's Grasp. The inhibitors are opened up in middle and bottom lane. Vitality are playing this one by the numbers, taking every single objective in their way, setting their sights on the Nexus, setting their sights on a match with G2 next Friday.
Alphari now starting to hit away at the inhibitor. He doesn't have a wave behind him, but he does not care. That cannon minion doing so much work. Nukto just needs to hit it with a rocket, and he will finally take it out, but there's another one right behind. Alphari and the rest of Vitality continuing to siege onto the base of XL.
Vitality beginning this slow spiral towards the Nexus.
Oh, that's not slow anymore, Nymera. That's a Ragnarok forward. The first kill is secured. Selfmade takes out Mickey. Finn is trying to buy as much time as he can. Eats up the shockwave, and it will be Selfmade going down. Finn still alive on the front line. Patrick not yet touched, but here comes Alphari. He cuts down Finn where he stands. Chucks out the ultimatum looking for Patrick. Kazi picks it up, turns his attention to Marcoon. That will be the ace. That's going to be Vitality inside of the base. They are just waiting for the minions to pour onto the Nexus turrets. XL are defeated. And all season, this super team has danced with disappointment. But today they dodge defeat and Vitality take down XL.
We often comment on the Perks buff from the 2-1 position, but this really wasn't about Perks. It was about the rest of Vitality coming together and really playing like a team. That Game 5 was probably the best Vitality we have seen